All right, let's dive into a really pivotal moment in world history, the sudden, super dramatic collapse of one of the planet's oldest empires. Yeah, we're talking about the end of Imperial China. I mean, that's a massive question, isn't it? For 2,000 years, you had dynasties rise and fall, but the imperial system itself, that always seemed permanent. And then, boom, 1911. The entire structure just comes crashing down. So how on earth did that happen? Let's get into it. Okay, so to really understand the fall, you have to look at China's ruling Qing Dynasty around the turn of the 20th century. The best way to think about it is like this magnificent ancient palace. It looks super impressive from the outside, but underneath, its foundations were completely rotten. And I mean, look at this. The pressure was coming from literally every direction. You had foreign powers repeatedly defeating and humiliating the nation. Internally, huge rebellions had shaken the dynasty right to its core. On top of that, the economy was going nowhere, corruption was everywhere, and maybe most importantly, the people were losing faith that their rulers even had the mandate of heaven, the divine right, to rule anymore. And while all that decay was happening from the inside, you had these powerful new ideas flooding into China from the outside. The old way, an emperor, a strict hierarchy, was being seriously challenged by these revolutionary concepts. Things like republicanism, the idea that the people should rule themselves, and nationalism and democracy. It was a total collision of two different worlds. So you've got this incredibly tense situation, basically a powder keg just waiting for a spark. But here's the wild part. The spark that finally set the whole thing off wasn't some grand, heroic plan. It was, of all things, a complete accident. This timeline just shows how fast everything spiraled out of control. So on October 9th, a bomb that some revolutionaries are making in the city of Wuchang just accidentally goes off. The police show up and they find lists of all the conspirators. And a lot of them are soldiers in the local new army. Now, this part is crucial. These weren't old-school imperial troops. This was a modern army, and a ton of its soldiers had been secretly recruited by revolutionaries. So they know they're about to be arrested and executed. Their only option? Fight back. The very next day, October 10th, they mutiny, and that single act of desperation kicks off a chain reaction across the entire country. And that date, October 10th, the 10th day of the 10th month, it became known as Double 10th Day. It's so important that it's still celebrated today as the national holiday of the Republic of China, which is now based in Taiwan. It's a direct line all the way back to this one accidental explosion. Once that fire was lit in Wuchang, it just spread with unbelievable speed. The Qing Dynasty, which was already hollowed out from all those problems we talked about, simply couldn't put it out. The momentum for change just became this unstoppable force. And right at the heart of this historic collapse was a child. The last emperor of China, Puyi, was only 6 years old when his throne was basically swept out from under him. Just think about that. A 6-year-old boy became the final symbol for the end of a 2,000-year-old empire. And this quote, man, this is from the official document ending it all. It captures the exact moment. Listen to that phrase again. Convey the sovereignty to be the possession of the whole people. This wasn't just one dynasty handing off to another. This was the emperor, on paper, formally, handing over the right to rule, the mandate of heaven, to the people of China. It was the end of the entire imperial system. So, the dynasty's gone, no more emperor. But what now? What comes next? Let's take a look at how they tried to build a brand new nation right from the ashes of the old one. The first steps were actually pretty hopeful. The main revolutionary leader, Dr. Yat-sen, became the first provisional president, and they even wrote up a constitution. But, and this is a really big but, to keep the country from plunging into a massive civil war, they made a deal. Power was handed over to a powerful Qing general named Yuan Xinhai. It was a practical move for sure, but giving power to a military strongman with his own ambitions, well, that was going to have some huge and pretty devastating consequences for this fragile new republic. So here's the key takeaway. The Xinhai Revolution did it. It overthrew a dynasty and created Asia's very first republic. That's a monumental achievement, no question. But this was not a clean ending. It was really just the beginning of a long and often brutal fight over what modern China was even going to be. Which brings us to our final question here. The emperor was gone. A republic was born. But with powerful warlords, foreign meddling, and all these deep divides over the country's future, was the revolution that started by accident in Wuchang really over? Or had it only just begun?